good people. Welcome to Melanated Vibrations, a new show that celebrates the diversity and richness of Black culture. Join us as we delve into our individual mental health and overall mental health of our community. From the latest trends to the timeless coping mechanisms, we'll showcase the best of what it means to be mentally healthy. So sit back, relax, and get ready to feel the vibrations of Black excellence. Let's get started.
Hey guys, happy Monday. Welcome to Melanated Vibrations. It's your girl Dom, host of Melanated Vibrations. I'm so glad to see everyone this evening. I hope you guys all had a really great weekend. Shout out to all my vets that are watching, people that are veterans, people that are still serving this country. No one can do what you guys do, to be so brave, to go out and to fight for this country so that we could be here safe. So shout out to all the veterans. I know you guys just celebrated Veterans Day. I come from a military family, so I have a special appreciation for those that have served this country. So tell me how you guys are feeling today. I am feeling a lot better. Last week I was very overwhelmed with emotion, just kind of, I think we talked about this on a couple episodes, that seasonal affective disorder or seasonal affective depression that kind of starts to kick in. And so I was kind of battling that this weekend, but I feel way better. Had to take some much needed TLC, some time to myself, but I'm feeling good. So I hope you guys are feeling well. I'm excited about today's show. It is something that I think we all could benefit from. I'm super excited about today's show. I don't really know how else to put it. Hey, Tiff, thank you so much for sharing. Shout out to Tiff, always doing her thing. Hey, Big Exclusive. Hey, bro. Shout out to Aunt Rockmore, aka Slim Exclusive. Hey, Hannibal. Hey, be right back. Thank you for keep coming back. I love that. Like, the name goes with, listen, because you said it real high. I love that for you. You come every week, and I appreciate that. Yes, if you are on the stream, please make sure you are sharing it. If you're on YouTube, make sure you share it. If you're on Facebook, share it. Follow, subscribe to the page, both YouTube and Facebook. Make sure you tag your folks in. Yes, I got a tag of this today. So yes, listen, guys, 2023 Melanated Vibrations. I'm super excited, and I am 2 months shy of coming up on my year of having this podcast, Melanated Vibrations, where we talk all things mental health. And I am super excited, planning something super big for the 1-year anniversary of Melanated Vibrations. So make sure you're tagging your folks in, make sure you're sharing, make sure you go onto the Big Exclusive Network, make sure you are subscribing to the channel, because, we got other shows and stuff. So I am going to set my intention for this evening. I would say I am bringing into this space serenity is what I am hoping to bring into this space today. Drop in the comments what you guys are bringing into this space, and let me know what you guys are feeling, how your weekend was. Did you do anything exciting? Was it too cold for you to go outside? Did you stay in? I don't know about y'all, but I feel like the older I get, the weather just continuously bothers my bones. So I am more or less like to be in the house when it gets cold, because my back start hurting, my knees hurt, everything hurts. So yes, I'm not really sure this is what I signed up for, but apparently this is happening. So here we are. But so tonight's topic, we are talking about something that is something that I am still currently struggling with, I will say personally myself. And I'm sure it's something that we all can relate to. I love that, Tiff, an open mind and accountability. I love that. So that is what we are bringing into this space. We are bringing serenity. We are bringing an open mind. We are bringing accountability. Tonight, we are actually going to talk about forgiveness. I know the F word, right? I'm probably cussing at some of y'all, right? With the F word, the forgiveness word, right? And so I do understand that it is not the easiest thing to do. And I know it sounds so cliche, but I'll say it anyway. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for you. Because if that holds you or weighs you down in any way, then that person has won. So let's dive into forgiveness. This is something that I am currently struggling with a particular person, but I'm trying to get better with it. I'm trying to take it one step at a time. So before we dive into forgiveness, I actually want to share a clip. So I'm going to share a clip with you guys, and then we are going to dive into forgiveness. It is actually by one of my favorite pastors, Joyce Myers, for those that know who she is. Yeah, like struggle with it. Baby steps, one step at a time, right? I absolutely love Joyce Myers. So yes, I'm going to share.
Harbor offenses and bitterness and resentment in your heart toward anybody because it's not hurting them. Matter of fact, they may be out enjoying their life, having a good time, and couldn't care less that you're upset. And a lot of times people don't even know they hurt you. Sometimes, you just run into somebody when they're having a bad day and they say or do something and don't even know they did it, and you can end up being hurt and miserable for weeks on end. Don't harbor offenses and bitterness and resentment in your heart toward anybody because it's not hurting them. Matter of fact, they may be out enjoying their life, having a good time, and couldn't care less that you're upset. And a lot of times people don't even know they hurt you. Sometimes, you just run into somebody when they're having a bad day and they say or do something and don't even know they did it, and you can end up being hurt and miserable for weeks on end. Don't harbor.
I think that is a very powerful place to start. So forgiveness, again, struggling with it myself, right? People do things to you. And sometimes it's really hard to look past kind of what has transpired or the transgression that they've caused, the hurt, the harm, the selfishness that they've caused. But forgiveness is important. And when you don't forgive for you, because again, they may not even know that they've harmed you or hurt you. Some people don't do things intentionally. Some people very well are just manipulative and they do things intentionally. But you give that person a power over you. And so I want to dive into what is forgiveness. So forgiveness, in a psychological sense, is the intentional and voluntary process by which one who may feel initially wronged or victimized, harmed, or hurt goes through a process in changing feelings and attitudes regarding a given offender for his or her actions and overcomes the impact of the offense. Flaws or mistakes, including negative emotions such as resentment or a desire for vengeance. Can we put Be Right Back's comment back on there? Took me a really long time to understand that. Listen, forgiveness is not, it is for you. That person holds the power over you when you do not forgive them. So let's talk about forgiveness in 3 stages. So the 3 stages of forgiveness are exoneration. So we know that word, right? If you are a Law and Order SVU fan like me or a Blue Bloods fan, we think about the law when people are exonerated. So there's the exoneration phase. There is the forbearance, and then there is the release. So let's talk about what the exoneration stage is. So exoneration is the closest to what we actually think or usually think of when we say forgiveness. So exoneration is wiping the slate entirely clean and restoring a relationship to the full state of innocence it had before the harmful action took place. There are 3 common situations in which exoneration applies. So when you think about exoneration, right, and you have people that get exonerated for a crime, like they went back and realized they had the wrong DNA or they didn't have enough evidence or, someone appealed a case and so they were exonerated. That means that the slate is wiped clean. That crime that they were accused of no longer is a problem. Now, the unfortunate part is, let me say this with exoneration. It still happened, right? Like that person still went to jail all of those years for it. They lost a large part of their life. So we're not just going to act like it just doesn't exist, that the harm or what that person did to you didn't happen. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we just completely wipe the slate clean and just forget what that person did. No. But if you are in the stage of exoneration and you agree to exonerate, Jay Buggy, if you agree to exonerate someone, at least at that stage of forgiveness, you are saying that this slate has been completely wiped clean and that you and that person are going back to the relationship that you once had. Now, I know, I'll speak for me. Y'all let me know in the comments. That is a really hard place to be in, right? Exoneration is not the easiest thing. That comes with a lot of prayer. A lot of burning sage, a lot of getting your crystals together, meditating, doing all of whatever it is that you do to center yourself. It's not the easiest thing to just wipe the slate clean because our minds are conditioned to relive certain things. Hey, Sonia, thank you for stopping in. Our minds are conditioned to think of certain things. And so while we may say, oh, we've wiped the slate clean and we're going back to this relationship how it previously was, the truth is we don't always forget. We may forgive that person for what they did, but we don't forget what they did. And so that's exoneration. The first takes place when you realize that the harmful action was a genuine accident for which no fault can be assigned. So that's exoneration. Exoneration is a stage where you know for sure, like this person did not intend to do this thing to you. They did not intend to harm you or, victimize you or hurt you. You know for sure that this is not what the person meant to do. So you exonerate them, you wipe the slate clean, you move forward. Then we have the forbearance stage. Now, forbearance, no, I'm not talking about student loans. It's not what I'm talking about. But if you know what I'm talking about with student loans, right? They forbear it, right? They stop the payments for a certain period of time and they put you in a forbearance where you don't have to make payments, right? So when you think of forbearance, first thing I always think about is student loans. But this is the stage and this is what they mean. So forbearance applies when the offender makes a partial apology or mingles their expression of sorrow with blame that you somehow caused them to behave badly. Y'all know how I feel about misusing words, but sound a little narcissistic. Just a little bit, right? Exactly. It's still very hard. Agree, Sonia, right? Even if their intent was not to harm you, it is still very hard to exonerate someone from the thing they did to harm you. I'm not saying it's the easiest thing. I'm not saying, hey, let's just wipe the slate clean, right? Because you didn't intend to do it. Like my feelings were still hurt. I still felt a type of way about it, but here we are. So that's exoneration. But now forbearance is kind of a little tricky. Like I said, it is a partial apology. It's like, it's not really genuine. They don't really acknowledge what they did. It's kind of one of those things. It's like, I'm going to apologize to get back on your good side. But I also need you to understand that in this apology, you caused me to misbehave or behave so badly. Now, in this stage, an apology is offered, right? But it's not what you had hoped for and may not even be fully authentic. Again, this is someone that is apologizing, not because they want to, not because it's genuine. It's just, hey, I need to just say this apology. Let's just move past it. You should be over it. Like, get past it, whatever. It's not even that bad. Like, you caused me to do this. We know people like that. We all know people like that. And so while you should always reflect on whether there was a part where you provoked this person, even when you bear no responsibility, you should still exercise forbearance if the relationship matters to you. So now you need to think in the back of your mind in this forbearance stage, how important is this relationship to you? Who is this person to you? Do you benefit from this person being in your life? What purpose does this person serve? If for me, I look at all of my friends as what do you bring to the friendship and vice versa. If you are, I've lost friends where I I had a friend, I thought we were really older person. I thought we were really cool. Then I realized once we had our falling out, you was my turn up friend. You was there for a good time. But that is the only purpose that you served in my life, was when I want to go out, I'm going to call you. We at the bar. We at Lou and Choose. We at Tender Touch. We at Tasha's. We doing all of those things. Oh, you're a great time when we're out. But you didn't pour anything into me. There was no motivation. There was no, I'm proud of you. There was always competition. But these are the things that you sit back and you look at on the back end of it. So when you're going through the forbearance stage, it is important to reflect. Think about, hey, did I provoke any of these actions? And if you truly do not believe that you provoked and this person is just being who they are, and again, you bear no responsibility, then you need to now determine, is this relationship important to you? Are you okay with this half-ass apology? That's a decision you have to make on your own. So you will cease to dwell on a particular offense, do away with grudges and fantasies of revenge. So in this stage, we're not thinking about holding grudges. We're not thinking about trying to get our lick back. But instead, you retain a degree of watchfulness. So now you're more alert to this person's behavior and kind of the situation. And you're making a mental note like, hey, if this happens again, this is how, or this becomes a pattern. Or, or maybe you even start reflecting back on other situations that have occurred and the person kind of gave you a half-ass apology. And so again, now you go back and you decide, is this relationship worth it? And does it matter to you? This is similar to forgive, but not forget. So when we talk about that term, forgive, not forget, this is what we mean in the forbearance stage. By using forbearance, you are able to maintain ties to people who, while far from perfect, they are so far from perfect, they're still important to you. So that is what this stage allows you to do. It allows you to reevaluate the friendship, the relationship, the situationship. Decide if that half-ass apology is okay. Is this a pattern of behavior for this person? What is it? What do you want to do with this person in your life? Hey, sis. Shout out to my sis, the co-host of Melanated Vibrations. She is on her sabbatical right now so that she can focus on her school and her family. So we are always sending her well wishes and love as she gets through grad school because it's kicking her ass. I've been there. I understand. So at this stage, what do you want to do? Hey, Flight, I see you in the comments. What do you want to do? Do you want to move past? Is this a relationship that's worth holding on to? Hey, Flight, we're going to be at your birthday brunch, okay? I'm going to get my ticket on Wednesday. I got you. What do you want to do with this relationship? And so let's move past the forbearance stage. So, but now, what do you do when the person who hurt you doesn't even acknowledge that they've done anything wrong or gives an obviously insecure apology? So this is what this means, right? Making no reparations whatsoever. So you're in this forbearance stage. The person apologizes. It's a half-ass apology. You're trying to decide, hey, did I play a part in why this person was provoked? You know what? No, it wasn't me. It definitely was them. I bear no responsibility to how this person treated me. I'm in this forbearance stage. I don't want to hold a grudge. I'm not really here to get my lick back, but now I need to be watchful. I need to just take note that maybe these things have occurred before. Maybe this is the first time, but let me just put a mental note in the back of my brain that when you do something wrong to me or others, you give a half-ass apology so we can move forward and move past it. So now at this stage, again, I'm evaluating how important this relationship is to me and does it serve a purpose? So these are cases of forgiveness that are the most challenging. So I find that, and such examples as like adult survivors of child abuse, right? Business people who have been cheated by their partners, right? A friend or a relative who has betrayed one another. Still, even here, there is still a solution. This solution is now the third and final stage of forgiveness, and it is called release. So again, you're reevaluating. You're trying to debate, is this relationship worth it? You go through all of those emotions. You get to the stage of release. Now, release does not exonerate the offender. So remember, I told you guys, exonerate means you are wiping the slate completely clean. Hey, Deandra. It means you are wiping the slate completely clean. Okay? Blank canvas. We going back to the beginning. It's you and me. You my Ace Boogie, like we in this, right? I forgave you. Let's move past it. Okay? But notice I mentioned in the exoneration stage that this person did not apologize. You have made a decision that in the exoneration stage that this person did not intend to harm you or hurt you in any way. But I never said they apologize. In the forbearance stage, you get a half-ass apology and you got to do what you want with that. But in the release stage, you're not exonerating the offender, nor does it require forbearance in the release stage. It doesn't even demand that you continue the relationship. But it does ask that instead of continuing to define much of your life in terms of the hurt done to you, you just release those bad feelings and you preoccupy yourself with, things that unfortunately they're negative thoughts. You think about the negative things that have happened to you in this stage, and that is not what we want to do. And so release does something that is critically important. It allows you to let go of the burden, the silent tax. I'm real big on silent treatment. Maybe I give you military silence in a minute. Like we could be in the same room and I'm going to act like you do not exist. But that is weighing you down and eating away at your chance of happiness, right? And so again, in a release stage, it does not exonerate the offender, nor does it require forbearance. Again, it doesn't even demand that you continue the relationship at the release stage. Unfortunately, in the release stage, though, the point is to release those bad feelings and those preoccupied negative thoughts that you have in your head. You are literally doing what the word says, and you are releasing that energy. Release it. I know that's hard for some of us, but you got to go and let it go. If you do not release the pain and the anger and move past dwelling on an old hurt or betrayal, you will be allowing the one who hurt you to live rent-free in your mind, reliving forever the persecution that the original incident started. Remember that, okay? We use that term a lot. Ain't nobody living rent-free in my head. A lot of y'all got folks out there living rent-free in your head. Okay, you are still holding on to hurt that somebody has done to y'all. They didn't move on with their life, as Joyce Myers has said. They not thinking about it. They don't even care that they hurt you. And I'm talking to myself, so it's not just y'all. I am speaking to myself. We have to learn to release those things. We no longer have to hold on to relationships with people if we choose not to. Again, you go through all of these stages. You can either exonerate them and wipe the slate clean and go back to the relationship you had. You can put them in a forbearance where, listen, big exclusive, felt it in my spirit too, because this weekend was kicking my ass on some forgiveness and forgiving someone, okay? And I'm still working through those emotions. You can be in the forbearance stage where you accept that half-ass apology, and then you just got to decide what this relationship is worth to you. Take a mental note. Exactly, Sonia. Free yourself. Fantasia got a whole song about it. I love that song. I love Fantasia. She can sing. She can sing, honey. Or you can just be in the release stage. Now, I'm not saying these stages go in any kind of order. I'm not saying you got to go through all three stages. What I'm telling you is these are the three stages of forgiveness. So this is where you all make your own decision. Am I going to just release it? Am I going to cut ties with this person? Am I going to let go all of those negative feelings and emotions and those intrusive thoughts that I always talk about? I don't want to get my lick back. I'm not here to seek revenge. I'm just going to let it go. I can't tell you guys what stage to be in because I'm not quite sure what stage I'm in, but I can guarantee you I'm not in the release stage, okay? Just put that out there. A moment of transparency. I'm not in the release stage as of yet. But you have to make that decision on what stage are you in? You have to let that thing go. I know that it may have been an abusive relationship. I know it may have been a manipulative relationship. And I'm not just talking about intimate relationships. I'm talking about some of these relationships we had with our friends and family. You got to release that. You got to let that go. Because again, that person is now living their life, their best life, probably and screwed over 50 other people after they got done with you. And they are thinking nothing of it. A lot of people hurt people because they're hurt people. And a lot of people hurt people because they're in survival mode. And I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm not making an excuse for them because I feel like rumble me. Play with your mother. Don't play with me. I get it. Trust me when I tell you. There are a lot of people that hurt people out there because they are in survival mode. And when I say they're in survival mode, I mean they are out here trying to survive. So they are willing to step on whomever and whatever they need to get what it is that they need. They do not care, excuse me, about how you feel about it, how it's going to harm you. You have people that literally, this is who they are. And they go around and they hurt good, genuine people. So now you have to make a decision. Are you going to release that emotion? Are you going to try to keep that relationship and give them a blank slate and say, you know what? It wasn't your intention. You didn't mean to do it. Or are you going to accept a half-ass apology? Because this is the thing with forgiveness. And let me get to my next point. You don't need nobody to apologize to you in the forgiveness stage. Let me say it again for y'all. I think y'all out there that's talk to myself. I hear you, Holy Spirit. I hear you. Listen. You do not need an apology to forgive someone. You do not need an apology to forgive yourself. You don't need an apology at all to release and move past it. Because 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to get that apology anyway. I agree, sis, right? So I don't even get mad no more. I just ignore you and won't even block you. And I stop speaking or the disrespect will begin. I get it because my mouth is... I know that's my toxic trait. It's the way my mouth set up. Right. So I'm not. I just let God do what he gonna do and let your karma spin the block when it's going to. Life is too short not to be happy with the day that God has given you. Exactly. People are literally dropping like flies. And what I will not do is allow you to live rent-free in my head and take up any space that you do not deserve because I'm upset with you because I can't let go of something that you did. I would just let it go because again, you're going to live your life. So forgiveness is not the same as reconciliation. Okay. Let me say it again. Forgiveness is not the same as reconciliation. Forgiveness is something that the injured, right, can do without any response from the offender. That's forgiveness. So back to my point, you don't need an apology to forgive a person. Not sometimes the karma is catching these hands. I felt that. Hey, Rod. I don't know who Rod is. Thank you for joining. That's a new name. Appreciate you. Make sure you share the stream. I feel it. Sometimes the karma is catching these hands, but we can't always respond out of emotion. Forgive and let go for yourself. The Lord says vengeance is his. Absolutely. For those out there that are my spiritual people, there you go. I love everyone, but play with your boy. My sister's wild. She's crazy. Fighting runs in the family. So sorry for that. Again, forgiveness is for you. Appreciate that, Ron. Forgiveness is for you. You may never get that apology that you seek. So then you do what? Hold on to that harm, that offense that person did to you because they never apologized. So again, forgiveness is something that the injured can do without any response from the offender. Now, reconciliation is dependent on the actions from the offender. For reconciliation to occur, we would want, right, or expect an amendment of wrongdoing and or an apology and a promise that the hurt won't occur again. So again, reconciliation and forgiveness are not the same thing because you can forgive that person for you without the apology. Now, if we require an apology to forgive, we are leaving ourselves powerless as we put our healing in the hands and the control of the offender. Okay? And Candy though, Deandra, Candy, because God can fight. He definitely got hands. So I'm gonna let him have it. I ain't even gonna step in the battle. What they say, the battle is the Lord's. Okay, it's not mine. It's His. I'm just going to give it to Him. Okay, that's all I got. Sometimes you just gotta let karma spin the block on some folks. And I respect the snake. Listen, and those be and Ron, that's a great point. I want to put a pin in that. Those are some of the hardest hurts, is when the person that you did not expect to harm you is the person that is the one throwing the dagger at you. You don't expect to get stabbed in the back by a loved one, a spouse, a business partner, whatever. The list goes on and on and on. So when it is someone that is close to you, that knows so much about you, unfortunately, that is when it does hurt. It does hurt the most when it is someone that is close to you. If we require an apology to forgive, again, we are leaving ourselves powerless as we put our healing in the hands and control of the offender. Initially, one may choose to forgive to feel better emotionally, physically, and psychologically. However, during the process of forgiveness, one begins to take the offender into consideration and think about him or her as an imperfect human being. Thus, forgiveness is more than a self-help strategy, as one is not totally focused on self when forgiving. Focus on yourself, okay? But I get it. Even though the process starts out that way, right? So the process starts on, I need to forgive this person. I need to heal from this, or be on my healing journey, because, we have all agreed that no one is ever completely healed. You are always healing. Healing is a lifetime journey that you will go through, but you are just not as triggered by certain things. And if you are triggered by it, later on down the line, your response should be a little different, because you're doing the work to get past that thing, right? And so we have the right to feel resentment and anger. Many people criticize forgiveness because they mistakenly believe that anger is not a part of the process. I'm here to tell you that anger is very much a part of the process of forgiving, okay? I'll have another transparent moment with you guys. I am currently, I think we talked about this, excuse me, a few weeks ago. We talked about, I think it was grief. And that is where I am. I am in a stage of grief, and I'm at the anger stage. And let me just tell you, okay, as I've said this before on the show, when you are grieving, you are in the stages of grieving. There is no, the stages of grief is not linear. You don't go through them in order. The stages of grief can be, you can start off with anger, then you can go to bargaining, then you can be depressed, and then you can be in acceptance. You literally can go all over the spectrum with grief. And that's it. Yes. That when you get triggered, learn to shut the fuck up. Just walk away from it. So like for me, I expect to go back to the person I was before the hurt trauma, and in therapy, I learned that you never go back to. Exactly. We don't want to go back. We don't want to go back to that person. I feel that big exclusive. We got to rap. We got to talk. You come on over. I make you a plate. Okay. I cook. You come on over. We'll talk. Have some wine. That anger stage is something different. And so we never want to go back to who we were, right? Because again, we cannot allow people to live rent free in our head. We cannot allow someone to have that much control and power over us. The moment that we hold on to that thing and be like, you know what? No, I don't forgive you. Like, you shouldn't have did that. You're absolutely correct. They shouldn't have done it, but they did. So now what are you going to do? Because they did it. It happened. You going to hold on to it? You just hold on to it. You going to hold on to it like a newborn baby and never let it go? Put it down. For all my parents out there, right? You can't walk around holding your newborn baby all the time. Every time they cry, you pick them up, or you just hold them so they won't cry. So now when it's time for you to go out and get your babysitter or go back to work, nobody want to babysit y'all damn kids because you never put that thing down. You never let that thing to self-soothe, right? That is what we do with newborns. We allow them, if you are fed, you are not wet, you are not sick, we need to have them self-soothe so they know how to self-soothe themselves. And for those that don't understand what I mean when I say self-soothe, I mean that if they cry, they know how to get themselves back calmed down, right? They know how to put themselves back together, right? So it's the same thing with us holding on to that thing that that person did. We holding on to it like a newborn baby, and we never put it down. Listen, admitting you are angry is big, because some people to be like, I ain't angry. You are. It shows. Yes. Shout out to Big Exclusive baby girls. Them baby girls is beautiful and they smart, period. Okay. Love that for them. Shout out. Congratulations to them honor roll babies. Okay. Might have to get them a gift card or something. I got you, Big Exclusive. Shout out to that. Yes, honey. We love smart black women. Okay. They're going to be some strong, black, smart women. I could just tell by how he raised them. You're doing a good job, Big Exclusive. Great job, Dad. But again, we're holding on to things like it's a newborn baby. Just put it down. Put it down. Let it go. That's not yours. Stop trying to hold on to it. Stop trying to put it in your pocket. Stop trying to make excuses for it. Just put it down so you can begin to self-soothe. You can begin to start healing. If you hold on to it, when do you heal? When do you begin to heal if you're holding on to that thing? Because now all you can think about in your head is that wrong that someone has done to you. You're never going to move past it. You're never going to heal from it because you're still holding on to it. So, reconciliation and forgiveness are two different things. Like I said, I am in the stage of anger. So I keep having all these like emotional, moments, these spouts of like just feeling really angry. To the point where, I do want to get my lick back. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I'm at a stage where I'm like, I want to be spiteful. I want to get my lick back. But I'm also battling with myself and telling myself that I'm not going to react emotionally. Because again, I can't let you live rent free in my head. So while yes, I am in this anger stage of grief, I am also working on myself to release this anger and get to the acceptance stage where now we can move past this. And I can continue flourishing and living my life. And so Sonia, like I said, she had a really great comment. Admitting that you are angry is big. Excuse me. A lot of people will not admit when they get to the anger stage. Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, listen. I be having my little self-talks. I can't be on here preaching to y'all. I can't be preaching to my clients and telling them as a therapist, like, no, listen. So I try to live by what I tell you guys. It's not easy because I'm human. And I'm a female. So sometimes my emotions get the best of me. But I feel like I have grown a lot. And I feel like I have a lot to lose in life at this stage. And I ain't going to lose it over nobody. Okay. I'm not. Orange does not look good on me, and neither do stripes. That's all I'm saying. I can't get my nails done in gel. Got to keep them done every 2 weeks. Can't wear hoops in gel. Okay. I can't. I don't even know if they let you lay your edges down in gel. You see them edges? Those is baby hair. Okay. That's real baby hair. Okay. That ain't no lace. That ain't no tattoo. That's real baby hair. I don't know if they let y'all do that in prison. And so I cannot let nobody take me there. Even though I wouldn't mind taking a break from life and going to get my cot in 3 meals. That's all I'm saying, but I'm not going to do that. So when I tell you guys, I understand, again, anger is saying it out loud already feels better, and it feels like a release for me. It is hard to admit when someone is angry, when they're going through the stage of grief where they are angry. Because we don't like to admit that thing, that person, whatever, got to us so much that we are now angry. So, you have a right to feel resentment. You also have a right to feel angry. In fact, we need to express our anger before we can forgive. Okay? That is something we need to learn to say out loud. Okay? I am angry. Because there's no sense of, and that's what I'm saying, baby. I stay away from the people that, because I'm not going to jail. Again, I told y'all, orange is not my color, and neither are stripes. Exactly. You got to forgive you. Okay. That is a great point, Deandra. You have to forgive you for whatever it is. Forget forgiving the other person. That's why I said forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. You have to come to terms and forgive yourself before anything else. And if you want to forget a person, awesome. Kudos to you. I ain't gonna tell y'all what to do with that. I ain't gonna say nothing else because y'all gonna think I'm toxic as fuck. So I don't really get with It's a lot with forgiveness for me. Trust me, I'm still struggling with it myself. I can only be transparent and honest with you guys. But seriously, in this stage, we do need to acknowledge and express our anger before we can forgive ourselves or that person. Forgiveness involves admitting that one has been hurt. A lot of us like to walk around with this S on our chest like, it ain't bother me. I'm good. I'm fine. Ain't about nothing. You're hurt. Your feelings are hurt. You feel a type of way. And that's okay. Like, say it out loud. Let's acknowledge it. Let that demon go. Just release that. Release that. Let that go. Let that go. Let that go. Stop trying to walk around here like Captain Save-A-Ho. Like you just got it all together and don't nothing bother you and period poo. All right, silly rabbit tricks are for kids. Okay. If somebody has hurt you or you are angry at something, say it out loud and release it. Hey, Phoenix, thank you for joining. Make sure you share the stream. Release it. Say it out loud. That pissed me off. That made me angry. That made me frustrated. Remember last week we talked about the feelings wheel? Stop saying I'm good. I'm okay. I'm all right. Nah, say you pissed off. Or lie to themselves and say, I get viral. Then there you go, big exclusive. I ain't got not one F to give. You do. You got a lot of them to give. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. We're humans. We all have emotions. No matter how strong you are. You feel a type of way, you feel a type of way. That's okay. Just admit it. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I did not like X, Y, and Z. That hurt my feelings. That made me feel unappreciated. I felt betrayed. Whatever it is, use your words. Again, if you guys don't know, go on Google, type in feelings wheel. It's a bunch of them on there. Some have pretty little pictures too. And go on and expand your vocabulary. If somebody asks you what you feel, go on and tell them that's what you feel. It's nothing wrong with that. But you have to admit that you are angry first before you can get into the forgiveness stage. So once you admit that you've been hurt, working through the feelings related to that hurt and then moving beyond that. So you can't move beyond that until you acknowledge what it is. The other important point is that the offender does not deserve our compassion because of their hurtful actions. However, we can give it nonetheless. Let me say that again for the people in the back. The offender, the offender does not deserve our compassion, but we give people grace. Because let's be clear, God gives us grace that none of us deserve. And while it may be hard to give people grace, we give it nonetheless because none of us deserve it. They don't deserve our compassion, but we're going to go on and give it to them anyway because we want them blessings to continue to flow. And again, we're not holding on to nothing. Be accountable for your feelings. Absolutely, Sonia. Stand in it. If that's how you feel about a thing, stand in it and tell that this is how I feel about a thing. And if I ain't saying confront everybody. Sometimes we got to keep them feelings to ourselves. Stand in your room or wherever. Say it out loud. You know what? This pissed me off. This made me frustrated. This made me angry. This made me resentful. I want to get my lick back. Say it out loud. I promise you'll feel better. Stop holding all of that stuff in. You're going to stress yourself out and give yourself a heart attack. And we're too young for that. Now let's talk about the 4 R's of self-forgiveness. So now we're reflecting back on ourselves. Because again, remember I told y'all, forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get an apology anyway. So the first R is responsibility. Accept what has happened and show yourself some compassion. I beg of you people, please be compassionate to yourself. Show yourself some grace. Okay? Again, responsibility is the first R. Accept it. It happened. There is nothing you can do about it because it happened. So let's acknowledge that it happened. And now let's show ourselves some grace and compassion. The second R is remorse. Use guilt and remorse as a gateway to positive behavior change. Okay? Remorse. So that guilt that you feel about that thing, because you let that person play in your face, or you feel like you're the cause of why they did what they did, let that be your motivation to a positive change in your behavior. to never allow that thing that that person did or anybody else to happen to you again. Let it be ammunition to something greater. The third R is restoration. Make amends with whomever you're forgiving, even if it's yourself. Okay? Make amends with whomever you are forgiving, even if it's yourself. Again, forgiveness is for you. It is not for that other person. If you do not believe that you want to have that conversation with that person, have the conversation with yourself. Make amends with you. Take your responsibility. Use your remorse as ammunition. Then restore yourself. Restoration. Restore yourself. The last R is renewal. Learn from your experience and then grow as a person. This is the 4 R's of self-forgiveness: responsibility, remorse, restoration, and renewal. At the end of this, you are to have forgiven yourself. You are to have changed your behavior. You are to have forgiven or make amends with that person, even if it's yourself. And then you are to learn from that experience and grow from that thing. Now let's talk about the 7 steps to true forgiveness. The first step is identify your hurt. I feel like we've said that enough at this point, right? Identify what the hurt is. Start by pinpointing the source of your hurt. Some of y'all out here hurt and not forgiving folks or forgiving yourself, and you don't even know why you hurt. Some of y'all hurts is so far past when you was born in 1974, 1960, whatever. Some of y'all is still holding on to some of them hurts, but you don't even know why you hurt. You don't even know what it is that you are hurt over. Saturday, my son's football season is over, and I am a part of his parent action committee at his school, right? And so they had a training on Saturday. I could have stayed in bed and slept on Saturday. What'd I do? I was in Camden, taking a training course, 5-hour training course from 9 to 2. I got into one of the group sessions and we talked about what is a problem versus what is an issue. Those are 2 different things. I know they sound very similar, but I promise you they're not. A problem is not something that is specific. But inside that problem, there is an issue, which is more specific. A lot of y'all out here not forgiving people or forgiving yourself for a problem that you don't even know what the specific issue is. And so you have a problem with yourself or someone else, but you can't even pinpoint what the problem is. In this first stage of true forgiveness, you need to identify what the issue is. What are you truly upset about? What are you truly not forgiving this person for? So we're going to start by pinpointing the source of the hurt. Was it a failure? Was it a missed opportunity? Was it a heartbreak? Was someone mean to you? Or did someone neglect you? Get to the root of your pain. Okay, let me say that again. Get to the root of your pain. Some of us are walking around here not forgiving ourselves or others because we are afraid or we don't know what the root is of our pain. Identify your hurt and get to the root of your pain. The second step is to acknowledge your hurtful emotions. What are you feeling? Is it sadness? Is it grief? Is it anger? Is it pity? Is it loneliness? Again, this is why the feelings wheel is very important, because you need to identify what you're feeling. Saying that I feel good or I'm okay or I'm all right, it's not a feeling. Do you feel sadness? Do you feel overwhelming grief? Are you angry? Do you feel pity? Are you lonely? Are you frustrated? Are you content? What are you? Find your word and go from there. Or it may be something deeper like hate or disgust, jealousy, or depression. And there you go, Phoenix. I'm glad I can help. Okay? I'm serious. Identify what are you feeling? Okay? And so this is why the feelings wheel is important, because you got to learn the vocabulary. The hurt may strike more than one chord on your heartstrings. There we go. That's the feelings wheel. When I tell you guys I love this thing, it is I walk around with one in my pocket. I give one to every single client that I see. That's how I start all my sessions off, with a composition book, and I always give homework. This feelings wheel will help you to elaborate on your vocabulary to effectively be able to express how you feel, even if it's to yourself. Okay? It's not about, we do want to effectively express how we feel to others. But while we are in this stage of forgiveness, it is important that you can readily identify what you feel. Get you a feelings wheel, download it, screenshot it, keep it in your pocket, print it out. I don't care what you do with it, but be able to use some of those words that are on there. Yes, Sonia, I will send you one. DM me, and I'll send you the one that I use. So again, the hurt might strike more than one chord on your heartstring. But in order to get rid of the hurt, you need to recognize your feelings towards it. So again, identify your hurt. Start by pinpointing the source of the hurt. Let's identify what the hurt is. 2, let's identify what are we feeling and give it a name, give it a word. 3, forgive yourself and let go. Forgiveness starts within. You were not the reason that someone hurt you. Okay? Let me say this to y'all. Y'all know I love you, so I can only give it to y'all how I got it. It's raw. You are not the reason that person hurt you. And I said this in the beginning. People hurt people because they're hurt, and people hurt people out of survival. It's not your fault why that person made a conscious decision, conscious or unconscious decision, to hurt you. You need to forgive yourself first before you have the capacity to forgive others. Start with you. You cannot truly forgive anyone if you are still holding on to the hurt yourself. If you're still holding yourself responsible or holding yourself accountable, you cannot truly forgive yourself, or you cannot forgive that person or whoever did something wrong to you until you start with you. Only then are you able to let go of the negative emotions associated with the hurt caused by someone else. So again, forgiveness starts within. Figure out what that thing is, what that reason is that somebody hurt you, and realize it's not your fault. They hurt you because they had something about that person, and they did what they did. They got to stand on their action, but they did what they did. Survival, whatever it was, kicked in for them, and they decided to harm you or hurt you or offend you. But you got to let that go. Forgive yourself for that, and then you can forgive them. 4, breathe in compassion. Let compassion flow, one breath at a time. Okay? People are people. They're going to mess up. They're going to make mistakes. Okay? And we just got to accept that that's what it is. First, we going to breathe and let that compassion flow within ourselves. Listen to what I'm telling y'all. Breathe in compassion. Take you a deep breath in and go on and release that thing out. Compassion starts with you. And then you can give it to the person that hurt you. You need to emphasize with that person what their motivation is, right? So emphasize with that person's motivation, their emotions, and their circumstances. You need to challenge yourself to put yourself in that person's shoes and view the situation from their perspective. I'm not saying it's right, but we do need to have a level of compassion for people. Give yourself compassion first, and then give that person compassion. Now, I know that one's going to be hard for a lot of folks, okay? Because we like, no, they did something wrong to me. I'm not being compassionate to them. I'm not putting myself in their shoes. Again, we all out here with grace that we do not deserve. So understand that we're going to have to go on and show some people some grace. Because again, you cannot truly forgive someone, right? You can't truly forgive someone, one, unless you forgive yourself, even though you did nothing wrong. So tell yourself that it's not your fault. Forgive yourself for that thing because you didn't do it. And let's go on and learn to show people some compassion. I'm not saying we got to mend relationships. I'm not saying you got to continue to be friends with them. Shit, family, I cut a family member off quick. My sister will tell you, we got an older sibling we don't engage with. Cut her right off and don't feel no type of way about it. Okay? Forgive unconditionally. Now, I know this one gonna tear some of y'all up. Number 5. Compassion and empathy materializes into action when you forget about the problem and move on to the solution of forgiveness. Give your forgiveness to that person with no strings attached. When you say, when we talk about spiritually, right? We talk about God. God loves us unconditionally. You cannot forgive someone with conditions. You cannot say, I'm going to forgive you for this thing, but there's no buts. It's either you forgive them or you don't. Forgiveness is unconditional. You cannot put conditions on forgiving a person, because if you have to put conditions on forgiving a person, then you haven't forgiven them. So I know, trust me, I get it, y'all. I really do. Number 6, be grateful. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful ways to empower personal growth, both for the forgiver and the forgiven. When you let go of the burden of the hurt and all of the negative energy and emotions that are associated with that hurt, you are given the peace and freedom to live as a better version of yourself. You're also empowered to transfer that positive energy to the other person and the people around you so that they can become better versions of themselves. Now, let me say this and get this caveat. Some people are just going to be a piece of shit because that's just who they are. I'm going to call the thing a thing. Some people are just a piece of shit. Okay? Some people ain't never going to change. People are going to be who they're going to be, no matter how much grace and compassion and love and forgiveness we give them. Because, again, some people are just in survival mode and they are just out here trying to get and do what it is that they need for themselves in that moment. I understand, Phoenix. I understand. It's not the easiest thing. When I say you need to do the work, I mean you need to do the work on you. If you would have joined earlier in the podcast, I said forgiveness is for you. It is not for the other person. There are 3 stages of that. And the one stage is that you do not have to, it is the release stage. You do not have to stay friends with that person or in a relationship with that person. People are going to do you wrong. That's just who people are, because that's what people do. And I'm sure you've done people wrong too. So let's take our accountability here, okay? I'm not saying that you are doing the work for both of you. What I'm saying is show yourself compassion and grace. Forgive that person for you. Right? Start there. Forgive that person for yourself, because you're walking around with that burden and that hurt for no reason. Okay? And then we're going to extend some grace to that person. And I'm not saying extend grace and keep that relationship going, keep that relationship flowing, hold on to that person, put them in your back pocket for a rainy day. That's not what I'm telling y'all, because I'm big on cutting people off. If the relationship no longer serves me, goodbye. To the back of the line you go. What I'm saying is you have to do the work for you in order to forgive that person. You can't forgive somebody and then don't start with you and do the work that you need to do for yourself, because then you can't truly forgive that person. Again, forgiveness is unconditional. It comes with no conditions. It's either you're going to forgive that person or you're not. But if you choose not to forgive that person, then they live rent-free in your head for the rest of your life. And every time a new person comes in your life and they do something that may seem like a trigger from the last person, and they got to suffer from what the 2 people did before that, and they don't even know it's a trigger because you ain't communicating effectively. You didn't tell them it was a trigger, and you making them pay for what the last person did to you. You haven't forgiven them, nor have you forgiven yourself. That's all I'm saying. Do the work for you. I'm not telling you to do the work for the other person. Do the work for you and extend the grace to that person that has been extended to you that you did not deserve. Because again, none of us deserve grace, but God seems to give it to us every day, all day. Can we put the Andrews comment up, please? So that is why we need God every second of the day, because depending on how deep the situation is, it's only through him that we're able to come to a place of forgiveness. Because, and that's what I'm saying. For all my spiritual people, religious people out there, where that's your thing, listen, forgiveness is hard. I'm not saying that it is the easiest thing. I told y'all I am in a stage of grief, of anger, and I am working to forgive some people in my life. It's not the easiest thing. But what I realize is that I cannot walk around with this burden. I cannot walk around holding on to this thing because someone decided to wrong me, because again, they were in survival mode, or they don't even realize they harmed me, or they just simply do not care that they did what they did. It happened. Let's learn to let it go. Okay. So again, we are working to be the best versions of ourselves. Okay. We're going to forgive ourselves so that we can be the best version of ourselves. And then we're going to forgive them. They don't even have to know we forgave them. I'm not saying call up and call that person like, I forgave you for that thing that you did. That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to call the person at all. You don't even have to have any more communication with them. But what you do have to do is put that burden down and stop holding on to it. And stop walking around with it. Stop dragging it around with you. Stop trying to put that crap in your pocket. And then stop trying to pass it out like it's some damn church candy. So now when you get into another relationship or an interpersonal relationship with anyone else, a friendship, you still holding on to that hurt from that person that you did not forgive, or you forgave them with conditions. And then the moment they don't meet those conditions, now it's woe is me and everybody else's fault. We're not doing that. Put Phoenix comment up. Hey, Creamy, thank you for joining, honey. Make sure you share the stream. So you can understand on a relationship level, but do you believe that there is a level wrong in which the format may be too great? Do I think that there are wrongdoings that people have done to people where forgiveness is just off the table? It depends on the person. Thank you, Creamy. It depends on the person. Do I think there are some unforgivable acts that people have done to other people? Absolutely. Let me say that. Some stuff you can't just bypass and forgive people for, right? But my caveat to that is, if they've done this wrongdoing to you and you cannot find it in your heart to forgive them, and you're walking around holding on to this baggage, because I keep telling y'all it's baggage. It's like that newborn baby. Again, I'm going to give y'all the analogy. The newborn baby that you will not put down and just go on and let self-soothing and go on and do what it's going to do. If you are walking around holding on to that wrongdoing because you in your mind have told yourself, but you got to remember, I started off with forgiveness is psychological. It's all about what happens up here. You think, therefore you do. So if you are allowing this thing that has done, this person has done this thing to you, this astronomical thing that you like, nope, can't forgive them. And you hold on to that. And then you carry that with you into every relationship you have. I'm talking about, and I'm not just talking about intimate relationships, your work relationships, your friendships, your intimate relationships, your relationships with your family. If that wrongdoing is now carried over into every relationship and you out here sprinkling it like it's fairy dust, and everybody getting a little bit of this because you can't forgive that person or forgive that thing, then yeah, it's going to be a no for me. Because forgiveness is supposed to help you be the best version of you. But if you're still holding on to that thing, it changes who you are. Because now that thing, that person now has the power over you to keep you in bondage forever, because that thing lives rent-free in your head forever. So in your mind, you like, no, I don't want to forgive that. That was too bad for me to forgive. Then don't forgive it. Fine by me. Don't forgive them. Hold on to it. But then see how that has an effect on every relationship you have thereafter. Because it's going to come up. It's going to come up in your next relationship, your next situationship. It's going to be a trigger for you. And now someone else, again, is paying for that trigger that they did not cause. Do what you want do with that what you may. Okay. The last step for true forgiveness, number 7, is love again, right? Forgiveness lets you love again. Okay? We are here to love and to be loved. Once you forgive, your heart is full of love. You are stronger because you love yourself and love others, no matter the magnitude of their shortcomings or transgressions. You forgive because you love, and you love because you forgive. You guys have to make a decision. I know forgiveness, again, is not the easiest thing, but those are the 7 stages, right? Identify your hurt, acknowledge your hurtful emotions, forgive yourself and let go, breathe in compassion, forgive unconditionally, be grateful, and love again. 7 steps to true forgiveness. I want to thank you guys for joining Melanated Vibrations Mondays at 7 p.m. I'm actually going to leave you guys with a video, a short with Mike Tyson in there, just to kind of wrap everything up about forgiveness. Again, I know forgiveness is hard. I know it's not the easiest thing. I'm not telling you it's going to happen overnight. It is something that Sonya, no worries, honey. You can go on and watch the replay. You can go and watch the replay and take your notes. Don't worry about it. Go and watch the replay. Run them views up. Thank you, Deandra. It's not easy. I'm not telling you guys it's easy. Forgiveness takes time, but forgiveness is also something you have to want to commit to. You have to want to forgive yourself, and then you have to want to forgive that person. You have to make the conscious decision. If you are going to forgive yourself, be compassionate to yourself, and then extend that forgiveness and compassion to the other person. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining Melanated Vibrations. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the big exclusive podcast on the big exclusive network. Then you're going to jump over to Thursdays. You're going to join the Ant Money Experience, aka Slim Exclusive, Thursdays at 7. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I'm going to leave you with this video. I love you guys so much. Have a great night. Bye.
Do me wrong?
No.
I cut ties like
the devil wins. The devil wins.
So you're saying the devil wins because someone did me wrong and I cut ties with that person, act like I never met that person.
Yeah.
So I gotta be the bigger person.
Because he changed you.
Oh, okay.
So he's your master because he controls your emotions. He's not your enemy, he's your master. Because you're not who you used to be now. He stole that away from you. When
you do me wrong?
No.